IVM.
Hello and welcome to Audio Gyan, an Indian podcast for those interested in design, philosophy, and arts. Audio Gyan documents thoughts, ideas, and insights from known and unknown gems of India who have done some remarkable work in their field of interest. Visit audiogyan.com for more Gyan sessions. Today we have Dr. Vidyadhar Oak again with us, and I'm really grateful to you, sir, for sharing some great insights and helping us document knowledge about music. We'll be discussing some differences and similarities between Hindustani classical, the fundamentals basically, fundamentals of Hindustani classical and Carnatic classical music. So yeah, thank you and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
The first question which I have is, are these two different classical forms which are known in India, Hindustani classical and Carnatic classical, are they different forms? And why are they considered to be two different forms?
Look here, you rightly said that these are two different forms because basically it is Indian classical music. Mm-hmm. It is Bharatiya Shastriya Sangeet. Mm-hmm. You know, we call the different forms as Hindustani classical music or Carnatic classical music, and there are some reasons.
Okay.
Now see, originally our Indian classical music or Bharatiya Shastriya Sangeet has actually come from Samaveda. It is that old.
Oh, okay.
And ever since that time, people knew the swaras. For example, if you refer to the oldest manuscript probably, which is known as Dattilam.
Acha.
Dattilam, which comes between 100 and 200, 1st and 2nd century AD.
Oh, acha.
Thereafter we find Natya Shastra, written little after Dattilam, Natya Shastra by Bharata.
Then
Bharata Muni, you're right.
Yeah.
And then we come to right up to 8th or 9th century where we have Rishi Matanga, who wrote Bruhaddeshi.
Okay.
And then in 1210 to 1247 or 13th century we have Sharanga Deva, who wrote Sangeet Ratnakara. So right up to now, for example, thereafter we have in 1650 Pandit Vyankatamaki, who wrote Chaturdandi Prakashika. So for last 2000 years you will find several references to this basically the same system, which was Bharatiya Shastriya Sangeet. But what happened was about 1500 years ago, that is around 700 or 800, there was a big political influence which came from the invasion by the Mughals.
Correct.
And an Islamic or a Persian influence came from the northern side.
Correct. Yeah.
And, that could percolate right up to the middle part of India, mid-India. So, in a way, we could say that musically, India was divided into two parts. One is the North India and the South India.
Yeah.
Now, the South India consisting of, as you know, Andhra, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu.
Correct.
And even in Sri Lanka, because at that time I think it was a part of India. So we find that the current Carnatic classical music is also sung in Sri Lanka. So this remained as the South Indian part of Indian music. And the North, there became something like North Indian part of music, because this Persian and Islamic influence did not go much beyond the middle part of India.
Correct. Not beyond Maharashtra, I guess.
You can say below Maharashtra or somewhere beyond, somewhere in between Maharashtra and Karnataka. So that I think was the separation. For example, if we read Sharanga Deva, his father was working in Kashmir. And it is said that there was enough unrest in Kashmir and therefore his father migrated to middle part of India, Devgiri. So even at that time,
there was unrest.
Kashmir, there was unrest in Kashmir. So Sharanga Deva's father migrated to middle part of India and he spent the rest of his life there. So he was able to study both the types of systems, the North Indian system as well as the Carnatic system. So we can say that basically the music is same. The way it is pronounced, the way it is presented has become different. And the various forms have become different. For example, in North Indian Hindustani classical, we have the various forms evolved like Khyal, Drupad, Tappa, Dadra, the light Tumri, Chaiti, Hori, Kajri, etc. Whereas there, they are mainly the Krutis. They call it as Kritis. And these are, in the praise of God. The compositions which are mainly made in the praise of God, and they are very pious in content. So mostly they sing the Varnams, which are Krutis. And then also there is Tillana, Ragamalika. So although these relatively the forms are different, the fundamental swaras and shrutis are absolutely the same. That is very important.
Acha, okay. But so as per my understanding, there are like 12 perceptible shrutis, swaras, which are universally accepted, right?
Yes.
So how come Carnatic classical has 16 swaras? I mean, why they have 16 then?
See, this is something which must be understood principally in terms of the sounds. Because there are only 12 swaras or sounds which are perceptible by the human ear universally. Not only in India or South India or North India. Even in America or Europe, there are only 12 between Sa and Upper Sa. There are only 12 types of notes which are identifiable. For example, if we play them serially, so these 12 remain absolutely the same.
Correct.
Only in Carnatic classical music, these 12 have 16 names.
Can you
So the
explain?
sounds are not different. For example, in some of the Carnatic ragas, see, let me tell you the names first. In Hindustani classical music, we start with Shadja,
Correct.
which is Shadjam.
Correct.
Now, then we say this is Komal Re. They call this as Shuddha Re.
Oh.
Suddha Re.
Acha.
So the basic problem starts here that we say, what is this? This is Komal Re. And they say, no, this is Suddha Re. And then everybody gets confused. Because their name for this swara is Suddha Re. And there is a reason for that which I'll tell you.
Okay.
So this is Komal Re and their Suddha Re, means Karnataka Suddha Re. Then our Shuddha Re, which is their Chatushruti Rishabham.
Okay.
So this one is Chatushruti Rishabham for them and Shuddha Rishabha for us. Thereafter the third swara, this is our Komal Gandhar and their Sadharana Gandharam. Then we have Shuddha Gandharam, which is their Antara Gandharam. Then we have Shuddha Madhyam, which is fortunately also Suddha Madhyamam there.
In the
Then
middle
we
they are
have-
same, yeah.
Then we have Tivra Madhyam, which is called as Prati Madhyamam in Karnataka. Pancham again is same. Pancham or Panchamam. Then we have Komal Dhaivat. They call this as Suddha Dhaivatam or Shuddha Dhaivatam. After this, there is Shuddha Dhaivat, which they call as Chatushruti Dhaivatam. After that is our Komal Nishad, which they call as Kaishiki Nishadam. And after that, we have Shuddha Nishad, which they call as Kakali Nishadam. And after that, again, Shadja is called as Shadjam.
Interesting.
So these are the 12 names of their swaras and our swaras. So there is no problem. They can have different names. The problem is, or rather the solution is, why they have 16 names for 12 swaras. I'll explain now. See, in some of the ragas, we take consecutively 2 gandhars. This comes very rarely in North Indian or Hindustani classical music. For example, if you take a raga like Jog, here we take sa ga ga sa. both the Gandhars come together. Now this is an exception in Hindustani classical because both the Rishabhas, both the Gandharas, both the Dhaivatas and both the Nishadas are not commonly used in Hindustani classical music. But in Carnatic classical music, it comes more or less as standard in many ragas. So can you imagine a raga in classical music, Hindustani, like Sa, Re, Re. Both the Rishabh, we don't have any raga.
Correct,
but there are many ragas and many thatas have both the Rishabhas. So if you say Sa, Re, Re, Ma, Pa, Dha, Dha, Sa. There is no raga like that in Hindustani. But the first Carnatic thata is this. Sa, Re, Re, Ma, Pa, Dha, Dha, Sa. Now since there are two Rishabhas coming simultaneously, Re, Re, there cannot be two Rishabhas, no? Therefore the second Rishabha they pronounced as Ga. So Sa, Re, Re, Ma. Instead of this, they do Sa, Re, Ga, Ma. And later Pa, Dha, Dha, Sa. Rather than this, Pa, Dha, Ni, Sa. Sa, Dha, Dha, Pa. Sa, Ni, Dha, Pa. Ma, Re, Re, Sa. Ma, Ga, Re, Sa. Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Da, Ni, Sa. Sa, Ni, Da, Pa, Ma, Ga, Re, Sa. So, when two Rishabhas come, one Rishabha name gets added. When two Gandhars come, for example, we saw Jog. Sa, Ga, Ga, Ma. Here there are two Gandhars. So in Karnataka, they will pronounce the first Gandhar as Rishabha because it has to come in sequence. Sari, Ga, Ma, Pad, Sare, Ga, Ma, Pad, Ni, Sa. So Sa, Ga, Ga, Ma will not come there. Sa, Re, Ga, Ma. You follow? So Sa, Ga, Ga, Ma is pronounced as Sa, Re, Ga, Ma. So they have a very clear-cut thought that what you pronounce after Sa must be Re. Musically, it could be different. After Re, what you pronounce must be pronounced as Ga. It could be Chatushruti Re. For example, Sa, Re, Re, Ma. But it is pronounced as Sa, Re, Ga, Ma. Because after Re, the Swara which comes must be pronounced as Ga. After the Swara which comes must be pronounced as Ni. So even if it is Chatushruti Dha, for example, Pa, Dha, Dha, Sa. So it is actually Pancham, Komal Dhaivat, Shuddha Dhaivat and Shadja. So Pa, Dha, Ni, Sa. So when there are two Rishabhas, one name gets added. When there are two Gandhars coming simultaneously or one after other, not simultaneously, consecutively, one after the other, name gets added. When there are two Dhaivatas, a name gets added. When there are two Nishadas, a name gets added. So there are four names which are added. Four different Swaras are not added.
So here when you did that Ni, that those are the two frequencies, two different frequencies.
See, this is Pancham, Pa, correct? Dha, our Komal Dhaivat or their Shuddha Dhaivatam. Then our Shuddha Dhaivat and their Chatushruti Dhaivatam. Sa, so Pa, Dha, Dha, Sa, correct? This is the notation as per Hindustani.
Correct.
But since there are two Dhaivats, how can you have two Dhas? Therefore, they call the Swara which is coming after Dha as Ni. Pa, Dha, Dha, Sa, nahi. Pa, Dha, Ni, Sa. So it is Dha as a sound and it is Ni as a pronunciation.
But then where does Ni in Hindustani classical fit in?
See, Pa, Dha, Ni, Sa.
Correct.
So this is Pa, Dha, this is our Shuddha Nishad. So this is their Kakali Nishad.
Oh, okay.
So this is Pa, Dha, Ni. This is our Komal Nishad, which is their Kaishiki Nishad. Now when both the Nishads come, for example, in a raga, Pa, Ni, Ni, Sa. In Hindustani, we never have both the Nishads like this. Pa, Ni, Ni. Pa, ni, ni.
Correct.
Sometimes in Mallar, both the nishads are used like this, sometimes. But as a rule, both the nishads will not come one after the other in Hindustani classical music. But in their music, Carnatic classical music, they get it. Pa, ni, sa. But since there are both thenis, the first ni is called as dha. Pa, dha, ni, sa. So, pa, ni, sa will be pronounced as pa, dha, ni, sa ni, dha, ba. Ma, pa, dha, ni, sa ni, dha, ba. Actually, it is Komal Nishad or Kaishiki Nishad. But since it is coming sa, ni, so sa, ni will become dha, pa. Do you follow?
Interesting. Yeah.
So let us again see the 16 names of Karnataka Swaras. Firstly, Shadjam, followed by Suddha Rishabham, which is our Komal Rishab. It is called as Suddha Rishab in Karnataka because the meaning of Shuddha is taken as the first Rishabha which comes in the Saptak. So after Shadja, the first Rishabha which comes becomes the Suddha Rishabham, which is Hindustani Komal Rishab. After that, this is Shadja. So this is Shuddha Rishab in Hindustani classical. It becomes Chatushruti Rishabham in Karnataka classical, or it can become a Suddha Gandharam if it comes after Komal Rishab. That means, suppose this is Shadja and in a raga you have the Suddha Rishabham. After Suddha Rishabham, if Chatushruti Rishabham comes, it is called as Suddha Gandharam because then it is the first Gandhar which is coming in the raga. So this is the Chatushruti Rishabham, sometimes becoming Suddha Gandharam. After that, our Komal Gandhar or Hindustani Komal Gandhar, which is called as Sadharana Gandhar. And when this Sadharana Gandhar comes together with Antar Gandhar in a raga, means sa, ga, ga, then the first Gandhar is also called as Shadshruti Rishabham. Because this Gandhar actually is the first note coming after Shadja. See this. Sa, ga, ga. So after sa, re must be pronounced. And therefore this Sadharan Gandhar is pronounced as Rishabham and called Shat Shruti Rishabham. So sa re ga ma ga re sa. So after this Sadharan Gandhar or Shat Shruti Rishabham comes Antar Gandharam, which is called as Shuddha Gandhar in Hindustani classical music. Then comes Shuddha Madhyam or Suddha Madhyamam. Then comes Tivra Madhyam or Prati Madhyamam in Karnataka classical. Then Pancham or Panchamam. And then again we have 3 Dhaivats and 3 Nishads. For example, the first Dhaivat is obviously the Komal Dhaivat or Suddha Dhaivat. Then comes the Chatushruti Dhaivat, which is our Shuddha Dhaivat or Hindustani Shuddha Dhaivat. And this Shuddha Dhaivat sometimes becomes Suddha Nishadam. Why? Because in a raga having pa, dha, dha, sa, you can't have 2 Dhaivats to be pronounced. And therefore it is they are pronounced as pa, dha, ni, sa, ni, dha, pa. So pa, dha, the Komal one or Suddha Dhaivat, followed by Chatushruti Dhaivat. This then is called as Suddha Nishadam because it is the first Nishad which comes in the Saptak. So pa, dha, sa become pa, dha, ni, sa, and then this ni is called as Suddha Nishadam. After this Suddha Nishadam comes our Komal Nishad or their Kaishiki Nishad. And this Kaishiki Nishad, where both the Nishadas are present in the raga, becomes Shat Shruti Dhaivatam because pa, ni, sa, you can't have 2 Nishads. simultaneously coming. So after pa, the nishad which comes becomes a dhaivat, and it's called as Shad Shruti Dhaivatam. So pa dha ni sa ni ni pa nai, sa ni dha pa. So the Komal Nishad or Kaishiki Nishad is also called as Shad Shruti Dhaivatam if both the nishads are coming in the same raga. So this is the Komal Nishad or Kaishiki Nishadam, sometimes becoming Shad Shruti Dhaivatam. After that comes the Shuddha Nishad or Kakali Nishad. So now if you count from beginning, the 16 names, I will just say them again. Shadjam, Karnataka 16 names. Suddha Rishabham, Chatushruti Rishabham, sometimes becoming Suddha Gandharam, Sadharana Gandharam, sometimes becoming Shadshruti Rishabham, Antara Gandharam, Shuddha Madhyamam, Prati Madhyamam, Panchamam, Suddha Dhaivatam, Chatushruti Dhaivatam, sometimes becoming Suddha Nishadam, Kaishiki Nishadam, sometimes becoming Shadshruti Dhaivatam, and finally Kakali Nishadam before the upper Shadjam. Further, for simplicity, they are simply called as Shadjam, R1, R2, R3, or G1, G2, G3. M1, M2, Panchamam, and again 3 Dhaivats and 3 Nishads. D1, D2, D3, or N1, N2, N3, and then Shadjam again. So, just to make it very simple, remember, in Hindustani classical music, we have 2 Rishabhas, 2 Gandhars, 2 Dhaivatas, and 2 Nishads. They have 3 possible Rishabh positions because 1 is added. Sound wise, there are 2 only.
Correct.
Now you'll understand. Sound wise, there are 2 only, but 1 gets added. When it comes to Gandhar, in Hindustani, we have 2 Gandhars. They also have sound wise 2 Gandhars. But the third gets added. Do you follow? So there are 3 Rishabhas, 3 Gandhars, 3 Dhaivats, and 3 Nishads in Karnataka, whereas we have 2 Rishabhas, 2 Gandhars, 2 Dhaivats, and 2 Nishadas. Sound wise, there are 12 only. Names wise in Karnataka, there are 16.
But then the Shrutis differ?
No, Shrutis are absolutely, since the Swaras are also same, the Shrutis are also same. The same 22 Shrutis will operate there.
No, you're saying you have a Shat Shruti,
Shat Shruti Rishabham.
Correct. So if
which
that
is actually a Sadharana Gandhar, in the sense our Komal Gandhar. See, Saga, this is a Sadharana Gandhar. Their Sadharana Gandhar, our Komal Gandhar. This becomes a Shat Shruti Rishabha if it is followed by another Gandhar. Saga, ga, cannot be there. So, Sa, Re, Ga. So this Re is called as Shadshruti Rishabha. So name is different. So the 4 names get added. Not 4 sounds. Because sound wise you cannot add to 12 sounds. More than 12 sounds. Because the more than 12 sounds are not perceptible by human ear anywhere in the world.
So correct me if I'm wrong, it might sound like a bit stupid question, but still, so does Carnatic classical music is very close to the 22 Shrutis design which you made?
No, 22 Shrutis are... See, what is a Shruti? Shruti is a micro position of a Swara.
Correct.
A Swara has a range of frequencies.
No, I'm saying in terms of division, they were very close to reaching that?
No. See, in both the systems, a Swara has a range of frequencies.
Correct.
And Shruti is a micro position.
Correct.
Sukshma Swara. We can call Shruti as a Sukshma Swara. So in both the systems, when you're singing, Shruti remains as a Shruti and Swara remains as a Swara. So it is not to say that Karnataka is more accurate in terms of Shrutis or North Indian. It depends
in terms of nomenclature.
No. The names are different. Even there 12 or 22 Shruti names are different.
Okay.
But in 22 Shrutis, fortunately, there are no additional Shruti names added. So both the systems have 22 Shrutis, but in terms of swaras, North Indian has 12 swaras, and they also have 12 swaras but 16 names. Or take their another thought. So what is it? Sa ga ga ma pa ni ni sa. So sa ga ga ma will not do. So sa re ga ma pa ni ni sa nahi. Pa dha ni sa ni dha pa ma ga re sa. So since they have those kind of ragas and thatas, there is a need to give it a different name. That is why there was the only difference between Karnataka and Hindustani in terms of swaras. Shrutis remain absolutely the same because Shruti is a micro position.
So yeah, coming to the name part, like this is something which I got to know recently only, that they call it as Sa Re Ga Ma Pa. So why? Is it just a language difference or like a cultural difference or any other reason?
See, I also actually searched at many places to find this out as to why they pronounce, in Carnatic system, they pronounce the swaras as Sa Re Ga Ma Pa. And in Hindustani classical, we pronounce them as Sa Re Ga Ma Pa.
Yeah.
Sa Re Ga Ma Pa. And they pronounce as Sa Re Ga Ma Pa. So I thought initially that it may be a language difference. But thereafter when I was contemplating, I think the real answer came forth. In research, when we seriously contemplate and we get stuck to a question, the answer actually is downloaded from somewhere after a while. This happens with all the people. It happened to me also. So the explanation of Sa Re Ga Ma Pa came in a very surprising manner to me. And that was, Sa actually represents Sadashiv.
Okay.
The Indian music has come from Shankara, Lord Shankar. So Sa is Sadashiv and Pa is Parvati.
Wow.
And therefore Sa and Pa, representing Sadashiv and Parvati, are inseparable from each other. Even musically when we play them together, see this. So when you play them together, we are unable to make out whether we are playing one note or two notes. They blend with each other so well. Can you see again?
Wow. That's very insightful.
How many notes are we hearing? One or two?
One.
Very difficult to say.
Yeah.
So this is Sadashiv and Parvati completely blending with each other, because Sa will always have, suppose if we take the frequency of Sa as 100, Pa will always be 150 or 150. So this natural ratio remains between Sa and Pa. So I think rather than Sa and Pa, which is pronounced in Hindustani classical, because there is no name of Shiva coming from Sa. So it must be Sa originally. And it is not Pa as we call it as Saregama Pa, but actually it is Pa, which is Parvati. Now it is not restricted to, the names are not restricted to Sa and Pa. Take Re Gama. Sa Re Gama. That is how it is pronounced in Carnatic system, and that is correct. Because Re represents Rishabha or Nandi. Which Nandi was closer to Shiva than even his own sons. It is said. Therefore, the Rishabha resides next to Sa. So Sa Re.
Wow.
Okay? Then the third comes Ga, which is Gandhar. We call it as Gandhar. And Ga is Gajanan or Ganesha, which is Shiva Parvati's son. Ga. And thereafter Ma. We call it as Madhyam. So Ma comes from Mayuresh or Balasubramanyam or Kartika Swami, called in South India. So Gandhar or Ganesha and Mayuresh, Madhyam. Both these are Shiva Parvati's sons. And Rishabha, which was, as you know, Shiva used to like him as good as his son. That is residing next to Rishabha. The Madhyam is residing next to Parvati, and the youngest, if we sit for a family photograph, we take the youngest fellow in the center, no?
Yes.
So that is how Gandhar is situated in the center. So I think it is sa, ri, ga, ma, pa are the correct pronunciations.
Wow.
But in North Indian, they have become sa, re, ga, ma, pa. But there is no such explanation for sa, re, ga, ma, pa, which is possible with sa, ri, ga, ma, pa.
Very interesting. So if these 12 swaras are the same, so why do they sound different? I mean, like they sound slightly different, right? You can typically identify between a Hindustani classical playing and a Carnatic classical playing. So,
Absolutely. They sound different because there are two reasons. One is, as I told you, they pronounce a re as ga and sometimes ga as re. Similarly, they have to pronounce dha as ni and sometimes ni as dha. So that is one reason why it sounds different. And the second reason is that in a raga, when there are some absent swaras, they pronounce the missing swara also.
What do you mean by
See
absent
this.
swaras?
For example, we have Yaman or Kalyan. And they have Mecha Kalyani, more or less a similar raga. So, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa ni, dha, pa, ma, ga, re, sa are the swaras. Now we play or sing it as. Now when we take this to Karnataka, Mecha Kalyani or Kalyani, the aroha is not ni re ga ma dha ni sa. This is Hindustani.
Correct.
Their aroha more or less is sa re ga pa dha sa. Sa ni dha pa ma ga re sa. But if it is sa re ga pa dha sa, it will be pronounced as sa ri ga ma pa dha ni sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. So when we go sa re ga pa, the in-between, Tivra Madhyam or Pratimadhyam is hardly pronounced. And it starts on Gandhar only. Sa, ri, ga, ma, pa. And then pa, dha, ni, sa. These are not sung like this. Pa, dha, ni, sa. So, ni and sa are more or less coming on the same note. So, pa, dha, sa, musically. Pa, dha, ni, sa. So, the absent note is also pronounced there. It is more or less absent. Sa, ni, da, pa, ma, ga, re, sa. So, in between notes are also pronounced. For example, take kafi. Now the aroha of kafi, Hindustani kafi, is sa re ma pa, sa re ma pa. In Karnataka, the same is pronounced as, see, there is no ga between re and ma. Re, ma, pa. Correct? So it is pronounced in Karnataka, the missing ga is pronounced. Sa, re, ga, ma, pa. Sa, re, ga, ma, pa. You follow? Where is ga? There is no ga here. Sa, re, ga. This is the ga. You follow?
Beautiful.
Sa, re, ga, ma, pa. But in Aroha, this Gandhar does not come. So sa re ma pa is pronounced as sa re ga ma pa. Again, pa dha sa, pa dha ni sa, pa dha ni sa, sa ni dha pa ma pa ga re, ga ma pa ga re, re ga sa re ni dha sa. So sa re ga sa re, the same ga starts there, which is not there actually. Sa re ga. This is actually re ma re ma re ma. But the missing ga is pronounced sa re ga ma pa dha ni. Where is the ni? Ni is here. Pa dha ni sa. Where is the ni? Ni is here, which comes in Avroha. Sa, ni, dha, pa. But in Aroha, pa, dha, sa. The missing ni is there. So that has to be sung. So, pa, dha, ni, sa. This is the reason why Carnatic music sounds different, but it is not different. It is exactly the same.
So, sir, the next question which I had was in Hindustani classical, there are 10 thats and Carnatic has 72 thats. So, why is there such a big difference? Is Hindustani too distilled? As in they have abstracted to just make it to 10 thats, or is it too restrictive in a sense? So, can you just explain about that a bit?
Yes. You see, the Thata system, Thata is a structure of all the 7 swaras. Which type of 7 swaras you select becomes a Thata, and from them different combinations become a Raga, correct?
Correct.
Now, these Thatas actually were very clearly delineated or specified by Pandit Venkatamaki in Chaturdandi Prakashika somewhere around 1650.
Okay.
So you can say that it is known as a Melakarta system in Carnatic classical system. Melakarta Thatas. Now, so we started with 72 thats.
Oh, even Hindustani.
Hindustani did not have 72 thats as such anywhere.
Okay.
And Hindustani music largely consisted of ragas only primarily. And exactly how many thatas are there in Hindustani classical music, there is absolutely no mention anywhere. The first mention of thatas very clearly comes in Chaturdandi Prakashika by Pandit Venkatamaki in 1650. Now before that also, I think in Swaramela Kalanidhi, Rama Matya had stated thats, but I think they it came in very clear form given by Pandit Venkatamaki in Chaturdandi Prakashika in 1650. So this 72 thata system, I think seems to be the most appropriate system as far as thatas are concerned, and there is no equivalent or any different system stated anywhere in Hindustani classical system before that.
Okay.
Now this 72 thata system is so accurate and so nice that all possible combinations of swaras come there. And I'll explain to you how. So it's a complete system. And it is truly a system. It is so systematized and very simple. See, 72 thatas are divided into 2 parts first. 36 with Shuddha Madhyam means, and 36 with Tivra Madhyam or Prati Madhyam. So all other notes will remain the same. So firstly we have a group of 36 and then we have another group of 36. The only difference is Madhyam. Very simple first.
Wow.
Only difference is Madhyam.
Yeah.
So number 1 and number 37, the only difference will be Madhyam. Number 2 and number 38. Number 3 and number 39. You follow?
Correct.
You will 1 to 36 and then 37 to 72.
Yeah.
So these are identical except the change of Madhyam. So that means if you know 36, you know 72. With only change of Madhyam.
Correct.
So let us see how these 36 are formed. These 36 are formed depending upon what is the Purvanga and what is the Uttaranga.
Okay.
That means from Sa to Pa is the Purvanga. And from Pa to is the Uttaranga. Now, since Ma we have already differentiated for making the first and the second group.
Correct.
The 36 and 36.
Correct.
Before Ma, you have Re and Ga. Before ma, you have re and ga. And after pa, you have dha and ni. So now the combinations of re, ga and dhani remain. Because ma combinations we have already separated, the first 36 and second 36.
Correct.
Now rega combinations, how many possible combinations are there of rega, we will see. And how many combinations of dhani are there, we will see. See this. In between sa, ma, we have 4 notes, correct? One is sa, re, sa, re, 2 rishabhas. Sa, ga, correct? So there are 4, 2 rays and 2 gas coming between Shadja and Madhyam. Sa, ma. In between this we have these 4 swaras come. In these 4 swaras there are 6 possible combinations. See this. 1, 2, 3 and 4. These are 4 different swaras. 1, 2, 3 and 4. What are the different combinations? 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4.
Correct.
So there are 3 combinations of 1.
Correct.
1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4.
4.
Starting from 2, there are only 2 combinations. 2, 3, 2, 4.
Correct.
And only one combination is left. 3, 4.
Yeah.
Correct? So there are only 6 combinations. 3 of Komal Re, 2 of Shuddha Re, and the last one having both the Gandhars. So one combination is Re, Re. Next is Re, Ga. Third is Re, Ga. Fourth is Re, Ga. Fifth is Re, Ga. And sixth is Ga, Ga. So these 6 combinations of Purvanga. Exactly similar 6 combinations come for Dhaivat and Nishad. For example, Dha, 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 Ni, Dha, Ni. 3. Shuddha Dhaivat. Dha, Ni, Dha, Ni. 2. 3 plus 2, 5. And last one, Ni, Ni. 6th one. So there are 6 possible combinations in Purvanga and 6 possible combinations in Uttaranga. So 6 multiplied by 6 become 36. Very simple. For example, Purvanga number 1 combination and Uttaranga number 1 becomes third number 1. So 1 and 1. When I say 1 and 1 means 1 in Purvanga, 1 in Uttaranga. Okay? So first combination in Purvanga, first combination in Uttaranga I am calling as 1 and 1. So 1 and 1, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4, 1 and 5, 1 and 6 becomes the first group of 6 thatas.
Wow.
Then 2 and 1, 2 and 2, 2 and 3, 2 and 4, 2 and 5, 2 and 6. Next 6. Followed by 3 and 1. So simple, no?
In fact, it's much more structured.
Absolutely structured. 3 and 1, 3 and 2, 3 and 3, 3 and 4, 3 and 5, 3 and 6 becomes the third group. Saitrik 18. 6 multiplied by 3, 18. The fourth group, what will it be? 4 and 1,
4 and 2,
4 and 3, 4 and 4, 4 and 5, 4 and 6. Next is 5 and 1. So, first, 5th Purvanga, first Uttaranga. 5th Purvanga, second Uttaranga. 5th Purvanga, third Uttaranga. 5 and 4, 5 and 5, 5 and 6. And lastly, 6 and 1, 6 and 2, 6 and 3, 6 and 4, 6 and 5, 6 and 6. 6 multiplied by 6, 36. So, those with Shuddha Madhyam are 1 to 36. Those with Tivra Madhyam are 37 to 72.
Wow.
Fantastic. So just to give you a musical sense, let us see the first group. So the first group is 1 and 1. So it will have both the Rishabhs and both the Dhaivats. See this. Sa, ni, dha, pa, ma, ga, re, sa. The first one is Kanakangi. The first third. Sa, re, re, ma. We will call it as sa, re, re, ma. They will call it sa, re, ga, ma. pa dha ni sa, sa ni dha pa ma ga re sa. So 1 and 1. Now 1 and 2, the next combination. Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa. So only the Uttaranga has changed from 1 to 2. Now the third one. 1, 2, 3 means Purvanga is 1 only. Uttaranga is 3. Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa. Third Uttaranga. Then the fourth Uttaranga. Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa. Fifth Uttaranga. Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa. And sixth one. Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa. So these become the first group. Then you come to the second group. Second group means Purvanga is second and Uttarangas are 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then third group is third Purvanga, like that. So these 72 Thatas are original system documented by Pandit Vyankatamaki in Chaturdandi Prakashika. Now since Hindustani did not have any formalized system for Thatas, and there were so many ragas, 2, 3, 400 ragas. So Pandit Vishnu Narayan Bhatkhande, in order to make things simple, selected 10 thats out of these 72 and tried to fix all the ragas within, these 10 thatas. But there is a problem. Because many of the ragas cannot be fitted. What requires 72, you cannot fit in 10.
Correct.
Obviously.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So certainly our thata system of 10 thatas is certainly not, as you said, distilled. In fact, it is restrictive.
Oh, okay.
Because some of the thatas we have simply not accepted. And we have taken them as raga. For example, Melakarta thata number 16, Chakravakam. The swaras are... This is a that actually, Chakravakam. But we have taken as a raga. We call this as Ahir Bhairav. So this is actually a that, but we have taken as a raga. So now what has happened? Because it is a raga, there are no further combinations possible in Hindustani. Whereas in Chakravakam as a thata, there are at least 50 ragas documented. So because we took 10 thatas out of 72, I would say that our system is unnecessarily, it has restricted itself.
And also not very structured because...
not very structured. 10 Hindustani thats do not have a logic.
Correct. No, in fact, before the interview, when you were saying that I'll explain you all the 72 thats also, I was a bit scared that because it might take an entire day. Because if that is the format which where Hindustani classical is based on, then it will be much more difficult to comprehend also. But since it's so structured...
So well structured. Absolutely. Absolutely well structured. So the 10 thats, for example, our Bhairavi is there, Hanumat Todi, that number 8. Our Kafi is Khara Rapriya. Our Bilawal is there, Dhira Shankarabharanam. Our Khamaj is Harika Amboji. Our Asavari is Nata Bhairavi. Our Todi is Shubhapantu Varali. Our Marwa is there, Gamana Priya. Our Yaman is there, Mecha Kalyani. And our Purvi is actually originally Kama Vardhani.
Wow.
So these 10 thatas are selected from 72, I think fairly arbitrarily. And there is no logical reason for why not 11 then, why not 12? There is no reason for that. So I think somewhere on the line, Hindustani classical system will also have to go back to its origin of 72 thatas. At the most, what Hindustani classical system will have to do is, out of the 72, there are 32 thats where 2 consecutive notes don't come. like re re, ga ga, dha dha, and ni ni. Because in Hindustani, not many ragas have evolved like that. So if we avoid those 40 thoughts, at least 32 thoughts can be very easily taken.
Correct.
32 thoughts can be very easily taken because, like Chakravakam. So Chakravaka is a completely separate thought. And we have taken it as a raga. Why should it be taken as a raga? See, our Natabhairav. This is a Natabhairav. You know the famous song. This actually is a thought known as Sarasangi, number 27. So, something which is a thought, why not accept as a thought? Why take as a raga? Because calling this thought as a raga is restricting. Because in Sarasangi, again, there are about 60 different ragas in Carnatic classical music, which we could easily have. But we are not exposed to those at all because we have rejected that as a thought.
Wow.
We have taken that just as a raga. So, a raga cannot be further divided into additional ragas. You follow?
Correct,
so that way I think we have unnecessarily restricted ourselves. And as the Hindustani classical music progresses, I think there is no reason why we should at least not have 32 thatas where there is no repetition of swaras. You follow? Repetition means two rishabhas.
Correct.
Now this may sound little odd. For example, sa re re ma pa, sa re re ma pa dha dha sa. This might seem little odd for us because we are not used to it. But I think musically it is not bad. Sa re. What is the musical problem here? There is no musical problem. We are not just used to it because we have denied it from the beginning. But I think musically we can graduate and even go to 72 thoughts eventually. But initially at least we should go to the 32 thoughts where there is no repetition of swaras.
So how can one remember these 72 thoughts, like these names?
See, the question which you just asked might have been the question even at that time. Then it is easy to make 72 thoughts, but how will you remember the names?
Correct.
So probably they also had this question and they have solved it beautifully.
Acha.
They have a Katapayadi system. Now I also heard about this system first. Katapayadi means what it must be. So it is actually system based on our Barakshari. Means Ka Kha Ga Gha Nga, Cha Cha Ja Jha Nga, Ya. Ta tha da dha na, ta tha da dha na, pa pha ba bha ma, ya ra la va sha sha sa ha. You know this system.
Correct.
Now they have given numbers to these letters. Beautiful. Means 1 to 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. So the first 10 letters, Ka Kha Ga Gha Nga, Cha Cha Ja Jha Ya. Get these 10 numbers. The next, Ta Tha Da Dha Na, Ta Tha Da Dha Na, again get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Pa Pha Ba Bha Ma, get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Yara La Va Sha, Sha Sa Ha, get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So under 1, you have Ka, Ta, Pa and Ya coming. Therefore it is known as Katapayadi system.
Wow, it's almost, yeah.
Number 2 comes Kha, Tha, Pha and Ra. And you don't have to learn this by heart because we know Ka, Kha, Ga, Ga, Nga. So Ka, Kha, Ga, Ga, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cha, Cha, Ja, Da, Dha, Ja. Cha, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ta, Tha, Da, Dha, Na. Again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 we can measure, and what is the number attached to a letter we know.
Correct.
Very simple. So you don't have to learn anything by heart. Now, the system is how to remember. See, their first thata is Kanakangi. So you take the first two letters, Ka and Na. Kanakangi. Take the first two letters, Ka and Na. Ka has a number 1 and Na has a number 0. So 1 and 0. Invert it. It becomes 0, 1 is Kanakangi.
Wow.
So every thata, the name is attached to a number which originally comes from a letter. You follow?
This sounds very unreal because...
It is like that. Say Vakula Bharanam. So Va and Ka. Now the Va has number 4 and Ka has 1. So 4 and 1. Invert it. It becomes 14. So third number 14 is Vakula Bharanam. Va and Ka. You get the first two letters and you will remember the name. So it just goes like that. So every thata has a name. You just have to remember the first two names, transpose it to the letter, and you will find the thata number. So this Katapayadi system beautifully explains these thatas. And again, as I was telling you, when I had these 72 names, and I was also contemplating on their numbers and how beautiful they are arranged. Again, a shloka was downloaded, and which I will just give you. If you remember that shloka or learn it by heart, you will know 72 names by yourself. So there are 6 thatas in every group, and such 12 groups. 12 multiplied by 6 is 72. So Kanakaratna Gana Murti Vanasapana Tana Rupi Sena Hanumatta Dhenu Nataka Priya Koki Rupa Gayaka Bakula Maya Chakra Surya Hatagamba Jhanka Natakirvani Kharahara Gauri Varuna Maracharu Sarasangi Hari Dhira Nagananda Yoga Raga Gange Vagashula Chala Nata. 36. Sala Jala Jalakavara Navana Pavani Raghupriya Gavam Bhava Shubhapantu Shadvisu Varanangi Divya Dhavalambari Namakama Rama Priya Gamana Vishwa Shamalangi Shanmusim Hema Dharma Niti Mati Kantamani Rushalatangi Vachaspati Mecha Chitra Sucharitra Jyoti Dhatu Nasikosa Rasika Priya. The next 36. So if you do just this simple shloka of 12 lines, you will remember all the 72.
I think it's very unreal to... I don't know, I'm finding, for a lack of better word, but the 72 thoughts to remember is like just really magical.
It is magical, yes.
Yeah. So in the earlier AudioGyan session also you mentioned about 22 Shrutis, which was also quite interesting. So do these thoughts have Shrutis?
See, thatas don't have Shrutis. Thatas have swaras because they are combinations of swaras.
Correct.
But swara is every swara has a range of Shrutis. So when you select a combination of swaras, then when you sing a raga, you have to be very, very specific and go to the micro position of those swaras in a raga.
In a raga, yeah.
Not in a thata.
Okay.
So thatas don't have Shrutis.
That is slightly loosely bounded framework.
Absolutely. Thatas don't have Shrutis. They just indicate what kind of swaras you should use. But when you actually use those swaras in singing or presentation of a raga, then micro positions will have to be accurate because samvad between different swaras has to come. And samvad will only come by micro position. See, if this is the Shadja and if there is an Antargandhar, it has to come at 1:100 to 125 ratio. So it has to be like...
Wow. Sundara.
So 100 to 125 to 150 will become the basic requirement of micro positions or Shrutis, and it gets applied in ragas, not necessarily in thatas.
Sorry, I'm just like taking a different track here, but do thoughts come first or do ragas come first?
See, obviously the thata will come first and ragas will be made depending upon the combination selected out of those swaras. See, take Chakravaka. We just took Ayur Bhairav. Sare gama pada ni dha pa Magarisa, Saregama Pada Nisa. Now you could drop Ma, for example. Sa re ga pa dha ni sa will become a rag. Sa ni dha pa ga re ga re sa. What have we done? We dropped madhyam. Sa re ga ma nahi. Sa re ga pa dha pa ga re ga pa dha ni dha pa ga re ga re sa. Is a combination possible out of that thought?
No, but just now you mentioned about Bhatkande sir doing 10, like identifying 10 thoughts. So
Correct.
previously there were rags, no? So
Yeah.
now in Hindustani classical, then the thought was formed later. So how does that work?
See how
Or they
See,
just identified?
you're right. These 3, 4 or 500 whatever number of ragas were made. What is the origin of these ragas? Nobody knows. Maybe there was a thought system, but it is not documented.
Oh, okay.
So firstly, thatas have to be there. There is no question about it. Then only ragas come. So the first documented, extremely well documented, logical, rational, usable system is mentioned by Chaturdandi Prakashika Pandit Venkatamaki in 17th century. But we should not say before that there was no thata system. I'm sure thata system must have been there, but there is no record. So thought will always come first. See this, once you have this combination, say sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa ni da ba ma ga re sa. You can make any number of combinations out of this thought. I just said sa re ga pa dha ni sa ni da ba ga re sa. You could drop Gandhar. Sa re ma pa dha ni da ba. Sa re ma pa dha ni sa ni da pa ma re sa. We have not heard this because this is a new combination I just made. You follow? So like that, by dropping swaras, by adding swaras, by changing their sequence, we can make so many new ragas out of thatas. Anybody can make.
Correct,
But of course, you should have that much maturity, that much level of
Understanding.
training
Yeah.
to be able to make a new raga. But that is how new ragas are made.
No, but then in the recent future, recent past, I had taken a lot of interviews of other musicians as well, and they said that they originally music was inspired from nature. So is it possible that there are certain sounds which you hear and you identify a rag out of it, and that rag fits in this thought? It's the other way around, and not from the thought the rag is coming.
It would be very difficult to comment on this, and I think nobody's opinion can be or would be taken as the ultimate opinion. Because it will remain as an opinion. We don't know the fact. So my opinion will be there, somebody else's opinion can be there. But if you look at what is a thought and what is a raga, I cannot imagine that, because haphazardly, can you just take any combination of swaras like that and call it as a raga? It may happen, but I feel that is a haphazard way of doing things. A perfect way of doing things. See, once we group, then you subgroup, isn't it?
Wow.
Then you subgroup. Now if you say, no, I have just thought of a subgroup and then I have created a group, it can't be like that, no? The division goes from top to bottom.
Interesting.
Not from bottom to up.
Wow.
And therefore I think that there must have been a thata system, something similar or even more elaborate than 72. I can't comment on that. But I can't see how somebody can just go on making ragas haphazardly of any combinations coming to their mind and then call that as the real thing. And then just for sake of it, group them into different thatas. No, it can't be that way.
So now the technically ragas should be similar in Hindustani classical and Carnatic classical, since if we are considering thoughts to be...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There are many ragas. Take for example Bhoop. they call this as Mohanam.
Hmm.
So Mohanam and Bhoop, there is absolutely no difference. You take, for example, a thata like Kiravani.
Wow.
So Kiravani, they also have exactly the same raga as Kiravani.
Even Hansadhwani, I believe, is the same. The name is also same.
Hansadhwani is same.
Yeah.
Now our Malakams. Is there Hindol? Hindolam. Our Bageshri is exactly the same as their Bageshri. So our Bageshri is their Bageshri. Our Bhimpalas is their Abheri.
Okay.
This is their Abheri.
Wow.
So there are exactly similar ragas also, but they have many more ragas because they had 72 thoughts to create them. And that is why Karnataka system has some known 5,000 ragas.
Oh, wow. Wow.
We say Khamaj, na? Harika Amboji. They have some 250 ragas in it.
Wow. Wow. So we are devoid of like a lot more
So
things.
we are restrictive. there you are.
Yeah.
We are restrictive.
Yeah.
And I think but other way to look around is that we have a scope to expand.
Yeah.
So that's an
absolutely.
opportunity also.
Absolutely.
So I think this is, and I think that these 72 Thatas in some way or the other must have been in the blood of all the Indians. Now I'm making a very, very important point and I'll prove it to you. I will take example of That number 71, which is called as Kosala. Now I feel that it should have been Kaushalya. Expertise, Kaushalya. It must have become Kosala later. But anyway, so Kaushalya. What are the swaras of this Thata? So 71 means group number 6, That number 5. So 6th Purvanga and 5th Uttaranga. And since it is in the second group, it uses Tivra Madhyama or Pratimadhyama. So the swaras are or sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa ni dha pa ma ga re sa. Do you remember any song out of this? Probably not, because you have forgotten a famous song or perhaps one of the most popular songs in Maharashtra coming out of these notes. And these are actually, the music director is Sudhir Phadke. Sudhir Phadke definitely did not know Kosala. That number 71 Mela Karta Thata. I don't think he had learned Carnatic classical music. But he has given a beautiful, one of the best, most beautiful songs of Maharashtra in this thata. See this now. Which one? घन नीळा लढीवाळा झुलवू नको हिंदोळा. See this. घन नीळा लढीवाळा झुलवू नको हिंदोळा. झुलवू नको हिंदोळा. साग सारे ग म प ध नि सा सा नि ध प म ग रे सा. How does this happen like this? Obviously, it must have been there in the roots of Sudhir Phadke somewhere, no? Obviously, it was there. Now, he may not have learnt it, but it was there in his blood, and that is why this has come. And I have seen many, compositions like this, which have actually very closely based on Carnatic Thatas, which we know today. So I believe that we are taking birth again and again learning all these things. So several births before, people have learned these things. There is a very strong reason to believe. They may come out in new names like 72 Thatas, etc. But it is somewhere in our biology, somewhere in our genetics. These 12 swaras, 22 shrutis, and these thatas, basic 72 thatas, are there biologically or genetically in our system, I feel.
And the other side is also, where would we go otherwise?
where would you go otherwise? This is it. This is the fundamental. This is the fundamental of music. Our music, Indian music, whether you call it as Hindustani or whether you call it as Carnatic.
Yeah, absolutely. So one more thing which I wanted to ask you is that a lot of times in other interviews we hear that Carnatic classical musicians or singers especially, they say that the music is based on gamakas. So what is this exactly?
See, the word gamaka is used by Carnatic classical musicians also and North Indian classical musicians also, but the meaning is different. The meaning of their gamaka is actually how are two notes connected.
Okay.
Because according to them, the gamaka word comes from gama, means to go. So when a swara moves from its original position to the other swara's position, so whatever happens in between two notes is gamaka. Say, take for example. Say this, we just saw an example of where sa, re, ga, ma, pa. If it is sa, re, ga, ma, pa, this Komal Gandhar or Sadharana Gandhar many times in Carnatic music is sung as, not as this, but as okay, so sa, re, ga. These kind of movements are known as movements between two notes. Actually, one note is and the other note is this. But what is sung or played is. So how do you connect the two notes? It's called as gamaka. So they have, now there are many types of gamakas described in ancient literature, but mostly they say they use Dashavidha gamakas, 10 standard gamakas, and they explain. They come basically from Veena. So Veena, how do you play the two notes and connect those two notes? Now it is very important to know that the part of gamaka which is identified as a swara is actually a shruti, and the part which connects is a nada. So when you do sa, re, ga, ga means ma, re, ma. These two are identified in terms of swaras, that this is ma and this is re, although we are calling it as ga. Ga, ma, ga, sa, re, ga, ma. Okay, so these are identified, but in between what is happening? Those are nadas. It's very important to note because those nadas are sung, as I had explained in my lecture on 22 Shrutis. The nadas are only heard but not identified because they are played for less than 45 milliseconds.
Correct, yeah.
And the swaras are identified or Shrutis are identified because they are played for more than 45 milliseconds. So again, what is a gamaka? Gamaka is a type of phrase or a type of, as they say, ornamentation. Even we call, आपल्याकडे पण त्याला अलंकार म्हटलंय. We call it as alankara. They call as ornamentation. So it's a beautiful thing designed by beautiful ornament created by swaras. So it is always a combination of swara or shruti. Shruti becomes a swara, as you know. Swara is the same as shruti, connected by nadas. So that is called as a gamaka. Any kind of such swaras and connections is known as gamaka. We call it as alankara. On our side.
Correct.
We have alap, we have mind, we have behlava. All these are alankara. So basically our alankaras are known as their gamakas.
So sir, there's one more question which I had, again slightly off topic, but do these ragas which are defined in Hindustani classical, they are generally have this notion of they are supposed to be sung in the morning, afternoon, night, midnight. So they have these timestamps given to certain ragas. So do these match in the Karnataka classical music also? Say for example, Bhairavi and the Todi which you mentioned in Karnataka.
See, this whole area of timing of a raga and this actual singing of a raga has remained as a controversial issue. It is possible that people have created a controversy because in the ancient writings, definite timings have been given for different ragas. That these are the ragas to be sung in the morning, these are the ragas during the day, these are the ragas late in the night, these are the ragas early in the morning, etc. I have clearly been given in literature, we can refer to that. But today, people say that no, it doesn't matter. The life of people changes. For example, today, we do the programs in theaters. Now we are sitting here in a studio. How do you know whether it is outside there is light or darkness? If you remain here for 6 or 7 hours, you won't know whether it is evening or night. So what kind of mood can you have in your body to present Marwa or Todi like that?
Correct.
So I think life has become very artificial and that may have deprived the original status of a raga having a definite timing. So our life has changed and that is why this controversy has really come. That is my view. Because of the change in style. Otherwise, originally it has been described and I think it has a purpose. And it has a reason that when you sing ragas of the morning, your whole biology is different. When you spend the whole day, work hard, come back at night, and then if you start singing, your whole biology and the structure of your vocal cords is also different. And that is why probably those ragas have been prescribed. So originally there is a definite timing for a raga, but currently people are not wanting to believe in it. I think
maybe it's going through an evolution. Let's see.
I hope the evolution is positive.
Yeah, and obviously this topic is like very vast. Probably we can have another audio GAN session just on timings and
sure we can do that.
Yeah. So thank you, sir. I would like to conclude with one last question. Can you demonstrate some of the thoughts and in Karnataki and their counterparts in Hindustani and vice versa?
Sure. I think we will take Hindustani 10 thoughts and I will just give a little example of what is the name of the Karnataka thought equivalent.
Okay.
Let us take Kafi, which is known as Kharahara Priya. Kharahara Priya is Melakarta Thata number 22. Exactly identical.
Okay.
दिस इज काफी और खरर प्रिया. Then we have Bilawal or Dheera Shankarabharanam. Dheera Shankarabharanam is Melakarta Thata number 29. Then we have Khamaj, which is Harika Amboji or Third number 28. Then we have Asavari or Nata Bhairavi, which is third number 20. Then we have Todi or Shubhapantu Varali, third number 45. Then we have Marwa, which is Gamanapriya or third number 53. Then we have Yaman or Kalyan, which is known as Mecha Kalyani, third number 65. Then we have Purvi or Kamavardhani, third number 51. lastly, we have Bhairavi, which is known as Hanumat Todi. Third number 8.
Thank you, sir. So that's it from today's GAN session with Dr. Vidyadhar Oak. Stay tuned for more GAN on Audio GAN next week. Till then, bye.
Hello! It's been a great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On This Round is on Me, Gauri is joined by Shweta Nanda. They talk about the financial independence and how it is to be a woman entrepreneur. On Anish Thing, Anish welcomes ultra-marathon runner Shivani Gharat. Shivani shares her journey of how she ran her first marathon, the mindset of a runner, and what it actually takes to run a full marathon. On Cock and Bull, Cyrus, Naveen, Akash and Shreyas talk about the Korean band BTS serving in the military and its repercussions. On Think Fast, Varun and Suchita discuss Wing Greens and their latest acquisitions and about the Indian sexual wellness market. And on Shunya One, Sheila Datya is joined by Dinika Bhatia, CEO and founder of Nuttigritties. They talk about coming from a business family and Dinika's journey in creating healthy and guilt-free snacking. Once again, don't forget to visit our merch store on ivmpodcast.com. We have some exciting new merch out there for you. Also, do follow us on social media. We are IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And do remember to spread the word about these shows and any other shows you might be listening to. Appreciate them, rate them, and review them wherever you are listening to them. You can also check out all our other shows on youtube.com/IVM Podcasts. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week: Volvo XC40 Recharge, Bumble, Heads Up for Tails, Kotak Privy League Program, and HDFC Mutual Fund. Thanks, guys. Without you, this would not be possible.
Do you often find yourself surrounded by conversations about Web3, blockchain, NFTs, DAOs? What are these terms and how do they affect our future on the internet? So many questions, but don't worry, we've got answers to all your questions. Hi, I'm Eklavya Bhattacharya, and on our show Future Proofing, we try to decode the impact of these future technologies on various industries with experts and tech enthusiasts. Tune into new episodes coming out every Thursday on the IVM Podcast app and the website, or wherever you get your podcasts from.